shared something on my personal timeline because I was actively burning out, and I knew that I was burning out, but I didn't stop myself until a friend had a conversation with me and literally checked me. And I needed to hear that. I needed to receive the message that she gave me. That's a personal experience that I had, a personal conversation that I had. But because I'm a coach and because I'm in this space, I know that my experience, especially that kind of experience where you're just working and working and working because you're trying to meet an objective, you're trying to deliver whatever the product is, or you're trying to serve the people that you were called to serve, you forget about yourself. So me sharing that story of how I am burning out, but I had somebody check me and stop me in my tracks and cause me to think about how I am moving and how I am building my business, inspired somebody else. And I know it inspires somebody else because I got the comments, I got the inbox messages, I got the affirmation that yes, this happens to all of us and we have to take breaks. So think about your personal experiences and think about what part of your experience, I'm again not saying tell all your business now, but pick the ones that you know will resonate with your people. And then with your why and your journey, you know, the why is really important to you, but sometimes the audience needs to hear, your audience needs to hear why you're doing what it is that you're doing, especially when you have a business, because your why could be what inspires them. Your why could be what educates them. Your why could be what motivates them. So you can share your stories about your why, you can share stories about your journey, you can share stories about obstacles that you're dealing with in your personal life or your professional life as it relates to the audience that you're trying to serve. Everybody tunes in for a good story. If you watch any kind of TV, if you're tapped into any celebrity or any famous person, I'm 100% sure that you're also tapped into their personal stories and the personal things that they share with you. So personal storytelling is universal. Anyone can use it anywhere and anytime. It's your story. You decide how much or how little you want to share of your story. It can have a massive impact on your audience because you can connect at an emotional level with the folks that you're trying to serve. I tell folks that I work with all the time, your story is not for you. Once you've had the experience, you've had the experience. It's not for you anymore. Your story is to inspire, motivate, or educate somebody else out there. All right. So folks are able to connect with you at an emotional level because we see something in you that resonates with us. And when you share your personal stories, I'm not saying tell all of your business, right? Because it's your story, you can pick which ones to highlight and which ones to keep to yourself, right? But sharing your personal stories allow folks to connect with you even more deeper than they would if you were just always trying to sell them something, or if you were just always trying to push your service in their face. Leveraging your personal stories can help you build your personal brand. And building a personal brand is typically a lot easier and faster than building a business brand. So I know a lot of you, you may or may have not heard about influencers. The reason why influencing or influencer marketing works is because these people use their personal lives, their personal stories, their personal experiences to promote a product or a service. They've built their personal brands and are now using those personal brands to promote, to advertise, to do whatever. Storytelling in business is one aspect of marketing that you can leverage without having or needing external resources, without having to hire somebody, because it's your story and you get to craft it however you want. So we've talked about the what and we've talked about the why. Now let's talk about what kind of stories you can leverage, what kind of stories you should be sharing with your audience. Now, before you decide what kind of stories to share, you should absolutely have a knowledge of the audience that you're going to be sharing the story with. You know, I teach my clients something called the 33-33 method, where it's like you have different stories packaged and ready to go depending on the situation or the scenario where you find yourself in, right? So knowing your audience, knowing the people that you're speaking to, knowing what kind of stories will resonate with them. If you are a life coach, for instance, and you got invited to present to a group of journalists, and, to talk to them about personal development and how to self-actualize. Maybe you had a framework or an assessment that only you, like it's your proprietary framework, and you're sharing this with a group of journalists. You're going to have to craft your story in a way where people who are not necessarily in your industry or share the exact same experiences can also relate to them. So before you decide which stories you're going to share, you definitely want to know the audience that you're going to be sharing them with. If you're just crafting your stories for social media to advertise on, to promote and build your personal brand on digital media, then you want to think about it as in, who are the folks I'm trying to serve? Who are the folks I'm trying to attract? Know who they are, know who you know what they like, they like your solution, but you want them to connect with you even further. So you think back and you dig deep for the stories that's going to resonate with them. All right, so let's talk about the kind of stories that you can share or that you can craft to help you build your personal brand.